Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where we are now in Ala Mhigo because we were ordered here to meet Rauban and apparently Emmerich. You know, I'm quite looking forward to seeing who's been selected for the Ilsabard contingent. I have a few people in mind. Can you make a friendly wager? I'll admit this is all rather daunting. Though not quite in the way I was expecting. We'll be standing shoulder to shoulder with our alliance's finest, the best of the best, the warrior of light and, well, me. It's silly, I know. Perhaps this is a way of distracting myself from a part I should be worried about, marching into Garlemald. I must crisp Vanquid and rearrange the conditions we can expect in Garlemald. I know it's cold, but how cold? Will I need to keep my ears covered? They can be a bit sensitive at times. If Emmerich asks after me, say I'm getting on fine and leave it at that. Don't you dare breathe a word about the court. Ah, fancy meeting you here. I trust our mutual friend is settling into life as a scion. Collaboration never was his forte. The moment the fighting ended, off he'd go, like a gallicat swept up in a strong breeze. But rest assured, he will always be there when you need him. Probably. Ah, the Wanderer's return. You've been busy bringing down a tower and producing the keys to destroying the rest of them. You should be proud. Those warding scales of yours are what's made this whole venture possible. Will you and Lord Emmerich be leading the contingent? Regrettably, no. Our role is to organize the various delegations into a cohesive unit. Once we have seen you all off, it's back to our respective posts. We dare not neglect our duties for too long, lest our defense effort fall into disarray. And just between us, there was a fair amount of opposition to the formation of the Ilsabard contingent. The very suggestion that we sent out some of our finest troops behind enemy lines to win the aid of the Guardians has made me rather unpopular in certain quarters. Can't please them all. Sadly not, though I do my best. Truth be told, I'd much rather be at your side, charging into the fray. Alas, I have battles of my own to fight, where words may serve me better than any blade. I hate to say it, but Lord Emmerich's struggles mirror my own. For the time being, the best we can offer you is a peace of mind from knowing yours, as it say fans. As you fight the good fight in Ilsabard, I and the other commanders will do what we can to convince the naysayers that our cause is just. Thank you. Both of you. I mean, it would probably help to just point out the tactical value of this counterattack at the enemy's base. But the enemy is not necessarily the Guardians, but the Telophoroi who might control everyone, or most people, or we don't know yet. But it's nevertheless, even if you don't think the Guardians should be helped, going there is a good idea from a purely tactical, strategical point of view. Just to take the initiative. We meet again. We meet again. Word of your exploits travels quickly. But what I gather, the protective talismans you obtained led to the formation of this expeditionary force. My contribution on this occasion is but a minor one, and that being the information I've shared with Maxima. For the sake of the people of Garlemald, may the fates be on your side. So you're not coming with us? Strange, I thought you'd have a stake in this. I do. The Telophoroi have laid waste to my homeland and enslaved my people. But though every mode of my being cries for vengeance, I cannot be the one to deliver it. My presence alone would place the entire mission in jeopardy. I stand accused of murdering Emperor Varus and plunging Garlemald into chaos. Were I to travel with the Ilsabard contingent, I would give my countrymen ample cause to question our motives. Conversely, those who believe me innocent may instead celebrate the return of the former legatus and attempt to raise me to a position of leadership, further destabilizing the region and complicating the contingent's mission. Whether I'm branded a villain or hailed as a hero, I would only hinder your efforts. I doubt they'll be pleased to see the champion of Eorzea set foot on Garlean soil. A fair point, but so long as you refrain from announcing your arrival to all and sundry, the average person should have no inkling as to your identity. Although your titles and these are common knowledge, only a select few would recognize you on sight alone. Perhaps one day they will learn that the Warrior of Light is not a demon to be feared, but a woman deserving of their trust. In light of Gaius's rather unique circumstances, I instead will assume the role of your guide. Though I may have defected for political reasons, my love for Garlemald endures. I would stop at nothing to protect her and her people. Well said. Might I ask you to escort our friends inside? You might even bump into an old acquaintance or two, and if I don't see you again ere we depart, may the Fury guide and protect you. All of you. Regardless of how my countrymen receive you, the cold will not treat you kindly. Underestimate it at your peril. Once we've seen the contingent on its way, I will return to my duties here in Ala Mhigo. As many of our most capable will be traveling with you to Garlemald, we who remain will have to fight that much harder to make up the difference. But let no man say I do not welcome the challenge. Aye, this old bull isn't ready to hang up his horns yet. I suppose it's easy for some people to forget there are civilians in Garlemald too. They were only Imperials we've ever known as soldiers. With the knowledge that our allies will hold the line in our absence, we may devote our attention to the Ilsabard front. So that's Gaius Belzer. The horrors he must have seen. Many of his own making, I do not doubt. Like Gaius, I too stand accused of Varus's murder, though I'm rather less recognizable on sight. Still, it's something to bear in mind once we reach Garlemald. I neglected to mention earlier that we received a report from our troops that may be of interest to you. While engaged with a lunar primal, a great worm swooped down from the sky above and came to her aid. The worm, as described, was the spitting image of Tiamat. It would seem she too continues to wage war against the Telophoroi. Best of the best. The other members of the Ilsabard contingent are gathered in the royal palace. I shall inform them of your arrival, so please make your way inside as soon as you're ready. Ah, the remaining members of the Science. Your friends and most of the Ilsabard contingent await you within. Would you like me to see you through?
By the 12.
People.
Glad you could join us. I hope you don't mind, but we went ahead and started without you.
Obviously.
As you can imagine, our traveling companions were eager to become acquainted. 'Tis a rare thing indeed to see such a diverse and talented group of individuals assembled for a single purpose. We fight not only for the sake of Eorzea, but for the entire world, including the people of Garlemald. Much rides on the efforts of the Ilsabard contingent.
Indeed, which is why I am glad to find myself in the company of many trusted comrades, yourselves included.
Lucia!
I have come at the behest of Lord Emmerich, who has honored me with the role of Ishgard's representative. And for the good of all nations, not least my former homeland, I am determined to see this mission through to its end. We have a hard road ahead of us, but walk it we shall, together.
We too welcome this opportunity to work together once more. I have faith that, if there is a way to resolve this conflict, we will find it.
Allow me to introduce you to the rest of our company. Everyone! If I may have your attention. Might I ask you to speak first?
If I must, I am Arun Senna, spokesman for the Gridanian delegation, here on behalf of my esteemed sister, the Elder Seedseer.
And still no visible eyes.
We shall provide support and protection to those in need during our time in Garlemald. To that end, I am joined by healers selected by the Conjurers Guild, with the Order of the Twin Adder's Finest serving as our escort. Of course, with an experienced white mage such as yourself accompanying us as well, those requiring more involved treatment will be in safe hands. Raya O sends her regards, by the way.
A special line for when you have a lone white mage.
Suppose I'd better say my piece.
Sigurd.
Wait, I know you.
Yeah, from the Bloody Executioners.
The name's Sigurd, in case you've forgotten. Truth be told, I'd rather you had forgotten. Any road, the Admiral asked Captain Hilfear to send his best, and for whatever reason, he picked me. Of course, if I'd refused, I'd be the laughingstock of the Bloody Executioners, and my reputation's taken enough of a keyhauling as it is. But more importantly, like any pirate worth his salt, I know when you're staring down a storm, you gotta trust in the commander of your ship. So if the Admiral wants us to go to Garlemald, not for plunder and glory, but the promise of peace in our time, then that's what we'll do. Since we all know how much the Empire loves its steel, we thought we'd bring along a few smiths to make the most of it. Give them a pile of scrap and they'll cobble together anything you fancy. Of course, just like the Gridanians, we got fighters of our own. We might have come with a more constructive purpose in mind, but we're more than capable of cracking skulls, believe you me.
Well, you're certainly raring to go. But then again, so are we. The most dependable warriors of Uldar and Ala Mhigo have assembled at the Sultana and General Aldin's behest. If Garlemald has truly fallen, then the whole place is likely to be crawling with Telophoroi. We'll need plenty of troops to clear and hold a path for others to follow. That's where we come in. Naturally, Marshal Tarapin and I will be leading from the front.
It's been some time since I last saw you in your element on the battlefield.
From what I've heard, you've become pretty fearsome yourself. Master Matoya, the avatar of destruction. With comrades like these, I know we'll succeed, no matter what awaits us. And then we might finally get a chance to enjoy a good long rest. But until then, let's give it our all.
As for Ishgard, we Temple Knights have come in force to uphold our nation's commitment to the peace and welfare of our allies. The bitter cold of Garlemald is a formidable enemy in of itself. Our experience fighting in ice and snow will prove invaluable in the days ahead. Accordingly, I have been designated commander of the Ilsabard contingent. I will do all in my power to provide you with the leadership and guidance you require.
Good, thank you.
The four high houses, House Hylinart foremost among them, have arranged for a host of machinists to join us on our mission. Their knowledge of Imperial Magitech is sure to be a great boon. They will address any problems of a technical nature, together with the smiths of Limpsa Lomitsa. There is another awaiting introduction.
Lord Emanolain!
Ah, yes. Emanolain de Forton, at your service. Though, lest there be any misunderstanding, I should stress that I've not become a fearsome warrior while you were away. Rather, far from it, actually. My brother, in his infinite wisdom, decided this would be an excellent chance to make something of myself. Oh, and fight for world peace and all that. But, should the opportunity arise for a spot of ballroom dancing, I will be your twinkle-toed gentleman of light.
Isn't that Hildebrand's job? May a graceful prancing lead the way to victory.
Huzzah! I cannot wait to regale Honorat with my tales of daring-do.
I believe that concludes introductions for the Grand Company of Eorzea. Our allies from the Eastern Alliance were due to arrive some time ago, but it would appear they have been delayed.
Would that be the shinobi of Doma?
Actually, they've been tasked with relaying messages back and forth between the various Eastern nations. According to Lord Hien, however, an equally capable company of warriors has been sent in their stead.
Out of my way, you preening fool!
Sado. Et Magnai. Serena. And the belligerents.
Forgive us for coming late. We are the delegates of the Eastern Alliance.
Cyrena, and you've brought company.
For battle and blood we come, as a step is sorely lacking in both. No towers befoul our lands, so we marched on those of Doma, only to find them beyond our reach. But now our thirst for slaughter will be slaked. No quarter to the enemy!
Sadu Hatun, no. We go to make peace with the Iron Men, not war.
Warriors of the Steppe, we've heard many tales of your bravery. We welcome you as allies. And these other ones you have brought are...
Members of the Dalmascan resistance group, Lente's Tears.
Yeah, the Friends people. And the belligerents.
And the Bosnian resistance. Between them, they have a wealth of experience in espionage, and are particularly adept at infiltrating Imperial facilities. Which is fortuitous, since Garlemald's domain is so vast that I could never hope to handle reconnaissance duties all by myself.
Dalmasca, Bosnia, Ala Mhigo. All lands which have suffered the tyranny of the Empire. I would never presume to question your motives. Nevertheless, I must reiterate that our goal is to aid the victims of the Telophoroi, the common folk of Garlemald. And they are victims, make no mistake. Though I understand that many may struggle to see them as such.
You're more right than you know. For every one of us that answered the call, there were a dozen that refused. Not only in Ala Mhigo, but everywhere we went. And who could blame them? The Empire's always been the enemy. But after seeing what we've seen, fighting and working against and with Garleans, there's no denying the simple truth. They're just people. No different from you or I. They've got their share of liars and murderers, but so do we. So do we all. Fordola, who once swore herself to Garlemald, has proven herself a trusted ally time and time again. Every Eorzean here knows Cid Garland, the Imperial defector who shared with us countless technological wonders. Maxima, who stands with us today, tried to reform Garlemald from within and make peace with Doma. So you can believe me when I say that every fighter here understands and accepts that the Imperials are not monsters and are deserving of help. Or at least that they were able to put aside their feelings for the greater good. It won't be easy, but we're all determined to make this world a better place.
What lingering concerns I may have had were clearly unwarranted. I agree with everything you said wholeheartedly.
Then we are in accord. Now, let us review our strategy. To reach the Garlean capital in northern Ilsabard, we must cross the central mountain range. Fortunately, Garlemald Ironworks can provide aerial transport, sparing us this most treacherous part of our journey. However, attempting to fly any closer to Garlemald would attract the attention of the Telophoroi. As they appear to have seized control of the majority of the Imperial military, we must assume that includes its fleet. In addition, Garlemald possesses devices that can interfere with airship navigational systems, further discouraging an airborne approach.
Given the circumstances, the closest we dare deploy our contingent is an area between the range and the capital, the Magna Glacies. From there, we must travel the rest of the way on foot. We will also need to bring the airships with us to ensure we can withdraw with haste. Although much of the terrain will be blanketed in snow, we should be able to make use of local roads and shipping facilities. The vast ice field will afford us an unobstructed view of the surrounding area. On the other hand,
We cannot account for every possibility, so we must be prepared to think on our feet. We will be tested. Sorely tested, I expect. But for our homes and for our people, and a people not our own but in need, we will succeed.
The vast ice field will afford us an unobstructed view of the surrounding area. On the other hand, it will also allow others to easily spot us, so it's imperative that we only make camp in positions that we can easily defend ourselves, and the airships which must be kept safe at all cost. We cannot account for every possibility, but we must be prepared to think on our feet. We will be tested, sorely tested, I expect. But for our homes and our people, and the people not our own but in need, we will succeed.
Spare no effort in your preparations. Once we depart, there is no turning back.
Clap, 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 clap. Good, who do we have here? Rostic. Rostic we met in the level 80 Gunbreaker story, also in Bozra. Ah, Radovan student. I hear from a certain student of my own you've been kept rather busy of late. Yeah, I think he's the master of Thancred. You might be wondering why a Bozran would want to aid the Garleans. It's simple. I'm a gunbreaker, and my duty is to defend. The way I see it, the civilians in the capital are in need of protection, so that's what I'll do. I'm glad to see you well, Desiree. Grandmother was worried for you. The night I agreed to come hither and join the contingent, the gods sent her a strange dream. 2 suns, one burning red, the other frozen black. Closer they circled, closer and closer, and as they danced, The world fell to ruin. In blinding chaos she spied blackened silhouettes and knew at once that one was yours. Yet we knew not how to interpret this dream, save as a sign that great danger awaits. But whatever lies ahead, I will walk with you, traveler. I care not for the Iron Man and their troubles. It is the destiny of a weak to die in ignominy. Even so, I will do as I have agreed. I volunteer to join this band at Serena's request, and if she thinks it's a worthy cause, that is reason enough. Though we hail from different tribes, our bond has grown strong of late. She's much better company on a hunt than any of the steppers oafish man could dream to be. With them all, champions of Nadam and the Dofal having sent so many here, I had fought to defend the steppe in their absence. And I would have done so were it not for my stubborn brothers. They urged me to grant our allies the sun's might, that his radiance may deliver them unto victory. Though I must tolerate the presence of his feral Dofali dog, as first among my brothers, I must do no less than accept this challenge. My deeds will become the stuff of legend. Who else have we here? Sanson and Guidelo from the Bard's Quest. Our powers has finally been recognized by the Order of the Twin Adder. Naturally, Guidelo is also here helping us. While his ability as a bard is unmatched, I do worry about his judgment. However, you need not. I shall be keeping a close eye on him, I promise. I can't lie to you, Desiree. I wasn't entirely on this whole thing when Sanson spoke to me, but if it means being your brother in arms, then who am I to pettifog? I shouldn't be so hard on him, I suppose. This bard unit is quite impressive, really. Yes, one must give credit where credit's due. Rather uncouth for one to do otherwise, after all. Now, Arun already introduced himself as from the White Mage quest. In case you're wondering, Shiva will be staying behind to defend the 12th Wood with my sister. She was of the opinion she would make a useful addition to our contingent, and was eager to make good on her vow to accompany me as well, which was flattering, but ultimately it was decided that her skills would be better put to use keeping our homeland safe. I'm of course obligated to share with her every detail when I return. Alkazolka from the Scholar's Quest. Greetings, Desiree. The time has come for us Marines to show our valor upon the battlefield. All who see us will know our name and quake before our might. To victory, come hells or high water. Who else do we have here? Stephanivian from the Machinist's Quest. If it isn't Desiree, 'tis thanks no small part to you that the manufactory's future is looking brighter than ever, my friend. I'm pleased to report that I and a handful of my colleagues have been selected to join the contingent. Every expedition has ended, even the Temple Knights will be singing our machinist's praises. Once we have borne witness to not only our mechanical proficiency, but our combat prowess too, of course. Oh, and Alberic from the Dragoon Quest. Let me have a look at you. A touch nervous to enter the battlefield, perhaps? Well, I shall be out there alongside you as a Temple Knight serving with your fine van. Though I may not look it, I was the Azure Dragoon once upon a time, so you can rest assured I give it all that I have in the common fight. I certainly won't be shown up by you or Stinian. A Manolane? Well, if I'd known what the social gathering was to turn out to be, I'd have dressed for the occasion. Still, this seems a perfect opportunity to mingle with the other guests. Would I be correct in assuming those ladies over yonder are Serena and Sadhu of the Steppe? Perhaps I should introduce myself, though I don't much like the look of that fellow with the enormous axe. Said I would slaughter you. Chuchuto from the Monk Quest. I'm so glad I found you. I have for you a letter from Master Hammon. Let's read it together, shall we? Now let's see here. I have every confidence that your fist shall bring the Telophoroi to their knees, and should you espy any beautiful maidens thereabouts, perhaps sing to them my praises. Charming, master. Well, more fool of me for thinking that letter would contain something actually inspiring. Let's just, forget this note exists and focus on the battle ahead. Kokobuki, and I think the others are also his brothers, right? From the Black Mage quest? They came as quickly as we could. We would follow your example and devastate the Telophoroi with the full extent of our powers. Why not for your brothers, Buzzy? We will return soon enough. Okay. Technically not Black Mage, but from the former Torch, but... same difference, right? Bronbar comes from the Marauder quest, the one that becomes warrior later on. I wouldn't be surprised if you actually forgot about him. I'm here representing the Marauders Guild, and it's my job to keep the Smiths out of harm's way. Mind you, with them hammers of theirs, they can put up a fair fight themselves. With a bit of luck, this will be over and done with before you know it. Maybe when it's all over, you can pay the Axemaster a visit. He still tells all the new recruits about the time you killed Kujata and avenged that boy's parents. I remember it like it was yesterday. Yeah, these are all main stories. Sigurd, Pippin, Lies sowieso. Until the Empire fell, the Garleans were the only ones we were allowed to impose tariff upon at sea. Weren't easy pickings, but I made myself a pretty girl. Since they've been so generous to me and mine, perhaps it's time we returned the favor and gave a little something back. Often as father told me of the struggles faced by Ala Mhigo in the days of occupation, I too have crossed swords with the Empire on many occasions. Though Garlemald has long been our bitter enemy, Her Grace is elected to bolster the Ilsabard Contingent's members of the Immortal Flames. As representatives of the Sultanate, we are one in our commitment to the cause. It seems so long since we were sailing across the Ruby Sea and charging about the Azim Steppe with Serena and the others. I'd say we're overdue for another adventure. It brings back memories to see so many familiar faces. We've been through so much together. Good times, and not so good. I expect Garlemald will be mostly the latter, but I'd like to believe we'll look back on these days more fondly in the years to come. But for that to happen, we'll have to make it out of this alive. Don't you die on me, aye? I cast my lot with a Polaris to bridge the divide between Garlemald and her territories, that all may be united in common cause. But we were disparaged as a radical element, dissenters looking to destabilize the Empire from within. Many friends and even my parents perished in unfortunate accidents. I too would surely have met the same fate had I not defected. Nevertheless, I still dream of equality and peace for us all. As the world itself stands on the brink of collapse, I hold out hope that one day that dream will become reality. If I understand correctly, you can only talk to people we have actually interacted with here previously. So, if you hadn't learned Dragoon, for example, you could not talk to Alberic. Or if you didn't have Marauder, Bronbar would simply not have a name or anything. He would just stand here as a nameless NPC. So, am I missing someone? Because unlike Serenia, with whom I did previously, Desiree doesn't have all jobs, but I think this is everyone. If not, you can tell me in the comments, maybe? Yeah, I think I end the episode here. Good. Next time we look where the main story leads us with all these people, and probably begin the expedition. Until then, I'm Ace, and don't get lost.